Hit it. Hey everybody, how you doing? We're getting ready to do a live interview with Karl Erickson, the tactical rifleman. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to call him right now. So anyway, here we go. And let me give him a call. And we're going to be talking about the B.A.D Rod tonight.
Put David on speaker. Hey, David, you there? Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, this is Don.
Don, I'm sorry, not Don. Not David. This is Don. How you doing, brother?
Hanging in there, my friend. How are you?
Awesome. I tell you, I'm gonna slide over more like this. All right, guys, this is the part where you guys are gonna let me know if you can hear Don. Okay. Can you guys hear Don? What do you think? Can you guys hear Don? That means Don, you gotta say something. So
I'm here. Hey, I hope you guys can hear me okay out there.
Say that one more time.
Can you guys hear me all right out there?
Yeah, there we go. Can you guys hear Don good? I remember when we started off last time, we had a little bit of a echo, and I had to move your phone away. But I think we're gonna be good this time, really. I think we are. Guys, I had Don on last week, and it's because I was holding a gun in my hand. Notice, for my Google moderator, this is not a gun. This is a slide. This is an inanimate object. This is not a real firearm. But you gotta understand, Don, you and me need to learn to be patient with the Google moderators. They are, what do they call them, Generation Z. Basically, Z for completely asleep in all their classes. Everybody's saying they can hear you fine. That's good. So, anyways, guys, Don is the CEO of Protection Plus Tactics. He's also the inventor of, can you guys see that awesome spike right there? Look at that puppy. I mean, it just makes you want to run it right through somebody's forehead. Guys, this is a tuned one-piece guide rod. It comes with a spring. And Don, honestly, I don't even know where to start with this thing. What do you think? Where do you want to start? First off, tell us a little bit about yourself. Seriously, what's your background to start off with?
Well, my background, I'm a Marine. I joined the Marine Corps when I was 17 years old. I spent about 10 years in the Marine Corps. Had the opportunity to do some wonderful things, traveled all over this globe. Prior to that, I started out, studying martial arts when I was pretty young. And, I had my grandfather, he was a German orphan from World War I. And, he grew up during the Depression, and he was a very tough guy. And, so he made sure that I understood what tough meant. And so, he got me into boxing pretty young. And then from there, I went to Shotokan. And then from there, wrestling, then jiu-jitsu, then judo. And in 1983, there was no MMA. So I went off to the Marine Corps. And at 17 years old, I joined the Marines and spent about 10 years in the Marine Corps, and then my back got all jacked up over in Iraq, and I wound up having to get out of the Marine Corps. And from there, I started, continuing, training, things like that, made my recovery, and then I got into some, E&P work, executive protection, and I got the opportunity to train with some wonderful people. Taught me a lot of things like Paul Castle, Max Joseph, some other guys like that. I trained knife fighting, when I was in the Marines, going through my jungle survival with Grandmaster Harry Green. So it's been a lifetime of fight for me. And my specialty is close quarter combat. So when things get tight, everything changes. And when you got somebody on top of you, 3 to 5 feet, and you got to, make some quick decisions and quick moves, that's when things get really real, in my opinion. So, I started a company called Protection Plus Tactics about 12 years ago. And I've been training people ever since. A lot of people that I knew and met in the executive protection industry. I went on, they started agencies, I started training their guys. And, my business just grew and it allowed me to do other things. And so, the B.A.D Rod that you've been showing people and everything is a result of my lifetime of fight. And so I always wanted to weaponize the weapon a little bit, in that number one, I don't want people grabbing my gun, because 3 to 5 feet when your gun comes out, it's almost 100% guaranteed they're going to try and grab it. They're going to try and knock it out of battery. They're going to go for your weapon. And so I always wanted to enhance the weapon in a way that would prevent people from knocking it out of battery and grabbing it out of my hand.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. Yeah, guys, my background, not that undifferent than Don's, close but different, right? We went down different trails, but a lot of the things overlap, right? So, weapon retention and Don, I covered in our courses that, because like selective lever on an AR, for example, there are still units that say they take the weapons off a safe before they even go into the shoot house. And my problem with that is you break that corner in the shoot house, it's paper targets, it's a level floor, no furniture, no big deal. But that's not real life. Real life, you go in, you've got carpets, you've got coffee tables, you're tripping over everything, but you go in, it's not just paper targets, it's real targets, but it's not just targets. It's targets that are not threat targets. It's targets that are threats that warrant deadly force, but it's also targets that are threats that do not warrant deadly force. And those targets, you've got to play, you've got to keep that weapon on safe, and you've got to basically beat them to the point to where you can put flex cuffs on them. And sometimes they cower right away, but a lot of times they don't. So muzzle striking and striking with the pistols, hammer blows, and striking with the barrel of the gun, nobody had ever brought up, hey, that solid guide rod that everybody's running, you can put a spike on the front of it. So when you guys first reached out to us, hey Karl, I like to work with you, and at first, Don, I was like, oh, okay, I see the benefit of this, but I'm not really. Yeah, I kind of, but Don, I'm here to tell you, once I got this thing into my hands, one of the weakest things on striker fired pistols is the guide rod. And that's why, like, when this company, Laser Max, they used to have a laser they put in the guide rod, replaced the weak guide rod with now a hollowed out aluminum guide rod that had batteries in it and a laser. They made that weak point even weaker. And that's kind of why I was shying away from yours. Viewers at home, guys, I don't know if you can see that. That is the toughest freaking guide rod you were ever going to see on the planet. This thing, what do you make these out of, Don?
They're made out of 17-4 stainless steel, and like you said, this is no attachment for the guide rod. This is a solid spike. It replaces the guide rod, and we also go through some heat treating processes. So, like I said, when we developed this, I took a few years to do it because I also wanted to balance it for each weapon. So, when we go ahead and heat these things up and harden them and everything, we're now balancing them as well. And so it's creating some harmonics that work with the weapon. So we tuned the springs, and now you've got a 17 force, hardened stainless steel spike, in your gun, and this thing's never going to break. I mean, you can, like I said, you can breach things with the pop tires, windows. You're not going to break it.
You're not gonna break it.
And that
And,
point, that point is serious. And that's one of the things when we're talking about how we manufacture this, there's not very many machines that can do this either, because we're actually cutting these things on some pretty sophisticated machines and getting that down to a very, very sharp point. And when we start looking at this thing magnified, you can actually see what we're doing with that very tip of that angle. It's going to go through stuff.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Now, on that note, I know some of my viewers, they're going to have questions about appendix carry, or how does it interfere with other holsters. And full disclosure, that was one of my gripes was, hey, how is this going to interfere with my Safariland ALS holsters? For a lot of you that aren't familiar at home with you guys know I run a duty belt. My Safariland ALS holsters, it actually locks on the face of the slide for your locking component of the ALS holster system. But as far as supporting the bottom of the gun, it does it off your flashlight if you're running one that's cut for a flashlight. And I didn't have to modify my holsters at all, not a bit, not a single bit. These things fit perfect right into the holster the way it was. So this was not an issue at all.
No, you're right.
Appendix carry.
So
my appendix carry holster, not allowed to show it to you guys because that would be me touching a firearm on a live stream. I'm not going to do that. But Don, I was looking at my holster with the light that's on this holster. The holster is actually made by Blade Tech, and again, not an expensive holster. I just needed a holster that would match this light by Crimson Trace. The cool part about Kydex, guys, and a lot of your polymer plastics is all I did was I took a nail from my workshop, I heated up the holster with the heat gun and took the flat part of the back of the nail and just stretched out that part of the holster, and that worked good enough for me. Don, what's your experience with holsters? Complaints, successes, what have you had with it?
So with the holsters, Safariland does a good job with, if you're running any type of a rig, your duty belt, you're running a rig, you're not going to have much problems because most of your holsters are going to go on. Now, I was specific about the length of the B.A.D Rod, how much sticks out, and it's about a ½ inch, and that's because the sidewall of any tire is a ½ inch, so it'll pop basically any tire out there when you hit that sidewall. Now, and now when we talk about
you mentioned, go on. You were still talking about holsters.
And so with the holsters, a lot of your holsters are already going to work, and then depending if you've got a light or what you're running, what type of setup you've got, and then like you said, you're going to run into some instances. So I have a custom line of holsters that we offer for the models of the guns that we do, but. Yeah, we do. We manufacture some holsters. Now, I'm not getting into all the light variations. So if I manufacture a good holster, and that holster will accommodate the B.A.D Rod, and it's appendix carry. Now, if you've got particular needs with lights and stuff like that, in most cases, you're probably getting a custom Kydex anyway. So now you can just get a custom Kydex that's going to, work with the B.A.D Rod and your light configuration or whatever you've got going, because everything's starting to change now with the guns.
Just about any good indoor gun range, a good one, and they have somebody there that's either on staff or whatever that can make you a Kydex holster while you wait. At least that's my experience around Central Kentucky and the Nashville area. Almost all the indoor gun ranges here also have somebody there that dabbles in Kydex. So to me, that's not an issue, Don, but I know a few of my viewers did have it. I have gotten questions since last Tuesday. Will it fit my P320 SIG?
Yes. If you go to our website, right now I'm doing about about 83 of the top selling handguns in America. I'm constantly adding new ones. I just got to go through, the testing process. So I'm always testing them. Um, yeah, I've got the SIGs lines. I've got Glocks. We're just finishing up the XDs right now. The next one that's going to be coming out is the Canic series. A lot of people been requesting the Canics. And also, like you were saying, if anybody buys a B.A.D Rod and they've got kind of a custom setup where the holsters that I offer won't work, I've got a guy. You just email me and I'll put you in contact with them, and
There you go.
they manufacture custom
Very,
for
very
anything.
awesome. Yeah, guys. Yeah, no matter. I didn't even realize there were that many different types of pistols out there right now. You got over 80. Here's the deal, guys. You notice how he says he's working on it?
Holster.
You understand? I want to stress that this is not just a 10-penny nail with a spring on it. Don legitimate, and that's what I love about this thing, and why I'm not just inviting it to go away. This thing it's tuned. It's literally he works with it to the point to where it runs. So as I put in my work gun, and which by the way, remind Helen I gotta have one in that'll fit my Glock 19 EDC pistol. Because I really, really want to start running this thing EDC. Tell Helen I said pretty please. To the Glock 19.
I think
this is a Glock 17 length slide, guys, and I've got a bunch of ammo through it already. I cleaned the carbon off so it would be nice and shiny for you, so that you guys could see it. But let's say you don't want it seen, or you're wanting the latest hotness. What other colors you do it in, Don?
So you got the stainless steel version, and Helen wanted me to let you know that yours is going out in the mail tomorrow. We've got a bunch of B.A.D Rods that are shipping out tomorrow. The team was packing everything up today. We don't.
Thank you, Helen. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we don't work Sunday, Monday because we work every Saturday. So.
Right.
But she wanted me to let you know that's going out. Now, we offer it in stainless steel. That's the one that you got. Then we also do black, because that seems to be the most popular. People want to be a little, covert. They don't, want people noticing that right away. Then we do also tan, your desert tan coyote kind of color, because a lot of the guns out now, like the M17 and stuff, which we do a rod for that. It's the 320. And then we've also got red, and then gold for all those guys that want to Gucci up their guns.
You got it for a Desert Eagle yet? Because I know Emery's got a gold Desert Eagle.
Now that Desert Eagle is. Have you seen how the guide rod works in there?
Yeah, I know. I honestly, I really hope you don't ever make one for that, because nobody should conceal carry a Desert Eagle.
No. But it's not just about concealed carry,
We bring it out for shooting mannequins and shooting body armor and stuff. But Emery actually, what is he EDC right now? I think he's carrying a CZ right now. You have him for the CZs?
Yeah, I'm a big CZ fan. I like my CZs. So yeah, CZs. I've got a couple models done right now. We're getting ready to add those to the website. And
Nice.
But I'm a huge CZ fan, so yeah, you'll be getting. Now the CZs are a little different also because of the shroud that they have on the slides, and so we had to engineer some things a little bit different for that. And if people who own a CZ know, your guide rod is skinny. It's like a little nail. It's a little one, and so I had to do a few things there to make it in what I would consider, in my opinion, to be an effective addition to the weapon system.
Okay.
So anybody who owns a CZ knows.
It's not just not an easy process. You legitimately got to put a lot of work into it.
If you're running the SPO1 or your PO1 tax or anything like that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, some of the newer models, the CZ10 and stuff, those we were able to get pretty easy.
Guys, you look at the guide rod, all right, and one of the favorite things that people like to replace is the guide rod. If you're replacing the firing pin in a pistol so that you get a faster what do they call it, faster lock time or whatever. So they go to a titanium firing pin. You're just a gear dude who's looking for things to put in his Glock. And Glocks are like Legos. I got that. I try to keep a pistol as stock as possible. Obviously, I replace the sights, and I'm big on optics. On the Glocks, I always swap the connector to make that. I put a 3.5 pound connector in all my Glocks, and that so that no matter which one I pick up, I have consistent trigger break across all my guns. My muscle memory transfers across it. But if you were going to replace anything, and I'm not bashing Glock, but that captured guide rod spring, it's on a plastic guide rod with a little metal washer basically at the end of it, and especially if you're somebody who actually works for a living with firearms, and the military actually has courses for basically hand-to-hand with firearms, or hand-to-hand in kit, where you're not shooting live range. The entire course is done at a dojo, and you're learning strikes literally with your helmet. How to strike with your helmet, like if the guy's got you pinned down. One of the biggest things that they do is they grab your helmet, and it's very easy for them to move your head around because you've got this big thing strapped to your head, but it's also a viable tool for you to strike with if you go to ground with somebody. Strikes with the rifle, obviously, that's why people will see why the tactical rifleman instructors, we bring our sling instead of from the far end and the near end of the gun. We attach our slings basically right in front of the magazine well and right behind the pistol grip. And that is to allow us maximum striking motion with the gun itself, because the reality is very few targets. My old unit hit an apartment building in Sauter City. I want to say there was 80 apartments. There was, I don't even know if Jackpot, the main bad guy, was even in the building, but I know there was a lot of bad guys in the building. We didn't shoot a single guy in the whole building. But there was a lot of people that wore flex cuffs that night, but there were a lot of people that didn't want to wear flex cuffs that night. And every apartment by Iraqi law is allowed, every household is allowed to have a full auto AK by Iraqi law. So it's not like you can't shoot them for having a loaded AK in the house, guys. You understand that? So you have to be able to go hands-on. And one of the biggest things that we were taught to worry about was somebody knocking the front of your pistol and grabbing onto your slide, because once they knock it out of battery and they grasp it, you can't shoot. And understand, nobody is grabbing this, hitting this thing on the front to knock it out of battery and then holding it. They might hit it and knock it out of battery, but they're not keeping their hand there. The guy is at this. You understand, I cannot stand this up on the palm of my hand right now. I can't do it. If I pick the thickest callus on my hand, I can do it on the thickest callus. But even with the palm of my hands being as calloused up as they are, I can't sit it there. It is literally that sharp. So this thing's badass, Don, totally badass. Where can my viewers get this?
They can get it at www.thebadrod.com, or they can go to protectionplustactics.com. And take a look. All the models are up there, everything. And any questions, whatever, we're always quick to respond with everything. So that's where they can go to get them. We're now talking to a few people about distribution, because we've sold the B.A.D Rod in, I think, it's sold all across the United States and in every one of the states, including Hawaii, but the only one we haven't got yet is Alaska. So you're going to be seeing this in gun stores real quick too. We just released it in January.
That's cool, man. That is very, very cool. Very, very cool.
We had our coming out at the SHOT Show.
Yeah, I thought I lost it for a second. I was messing with my phone.
Now we had our coming out party.
www.thebadrod.com, is that the best one?
Yeah, they can go there right there, real easy, thebadrod.com, and they'll be right on the page. They'll be able to take a look at everything. We got videos up there. I got Chuck Liddell beating stuff up with it. I got Luke Rockhold beating stuff up with it. You know, these guys.
One of my moderators has put it in the chat room also. So guys, if you're interested in getting a bad rod for yourself, I hit Don and Helen up for a promo code for you guys, TR10. Don, correct me if I'm wrong, but TR10 saves them 10%.
Actually,
it was different, wasn't it?
It was Bad Rod 10. They put in Bad Rod 10, and they're gonna get 10% off.
One more time, Bad Rod 10.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Bad Rod 10. Susan, can you have somebody put that in the chat room also? B.A.D Rod 10. Bad Rod 10. Saves you 10%, guys. 10%. That's decent. That's very, very decent. Don, I appreciate you sponsoring tonight's live stream. I appreciate you coming on. Guys, he's going to sponsor our live streams for the whole month of April. So here's the deal. Here's what I want from you guys, all right? Right, me and Don, Don's heard my side of this. I want to hear your guys' side of it. Put it in the chat room. Those of you that are watching tomorrow, put it in the comment section underneath the video. Because right now, I know Emery's going to love this thing because Emery likes to hit things with guns. And we are very big on, right, if you're in the room with the bad guy and your gun goes click, no bang, do top rack. Right? But just like Don said earlier, if you're within so many feet, you need to be closing and beating the guy to buy you extra time to do top rack, to get that gun back in the fight. So I know Emery is going to be very, very big on this thing. And he's going to want to start. We actually have a high-risk concealed carry course coming up that does a lot of weapon drills from retention, but also weapon strikes, non-lethal weapon strikes. And yeah, Don, I think I'm going to reach out to you about that, see if we can do maybe have like a couple of drills just in that course for where we can show off your products. Let the students actually try it out. Have a few of them on hand so that they can try them out. And
yeah, I got some stuff for you.
Buy those rods. And guys, let me know. Is this something you want TR to add to our video list? I think I see a future tactical rifleman premiere Friday video, including your guide rod, on indeed Bad Rod by Don. Don invented this thing. Don's badass. He really is. But Don's also the CEO of Protection Plus Tactics. And yeah, it's been an honor having you on tonight, Don. I look forward to playing with this thing again. This is how it comes, guys. Comes in a nice little tube, very discreet. Yeah, easy to use, easy to put in. And you can't screw it up. All the work has been done. He's already tuned it. He's got it perfect for your firearm. Just make sure you're requesting the one that's actually correct for your firearm, and you'll have the correct spring and everything. And it's going to be awesome. Going to be very, very awesome. I think we talked about it last Tuesday. I want to say it was 30 years ago. It was a Guns and Ammo magazine. They had this big 1911 on the cover that was built for the Navy SEALs, and it was a offensive combat pistol, and it had like a block on the front, like a flat metal plate that was hooked on the lower receiver to keep people from being able to knock your slide out of battery. But then on the bottom of the pistol grip on it was a 1911. The back strap of the 1911 normally wraps around the magazine well, so you have a fluted magazine well to make it easier to do a speed reload. Well, they had a spike on the bottom of that magazine well. And the article, I read it because it looked badass, guys. It looked badass. He was on the cover, full, like 3 pages about this gun in the magazine. I read the whole thing, very interested. But that was a skull crusher spike. It was like 2 inches long. And it was so that you could hammer strike a guy on the top of the forehead and crush his skull. And the whole, which would be lethal force, by the way. My whole time reading it, I was like, these guys that made this gun they've never been to combat. They've never, they don't realize that most of the time if you're hammer striking somebody, you're not trying to kill them. You're trying to inflict pain so that they become subdued. But they definitely have never, so they've never been to combat. They've also never done a cap rack or a speed reload, because slamming that spike with your support hand, that thing would go right through the palm of your hand. So immediately I got through that part of the article and I was like, yeah, this is a carnival ride. It'll never be used. And it never was. They said in the article it was made for the SEALs, but the SEALs never used it. It was never fielded. It's just a carnival ride. This right here, guys, I originally thought was a carnival ride, and it's not. Guys, I can whack my desk with this thing and put holes in my desk without even trying. And Don, I'm excited about it. I really am. I am excited about it. Last words for Don before I let you go. I know I've kept you up late already. What words do you have for my studio audience here?
Hey, you guys are really going to love the B.A.D Rod. If you invest and put one of these in your weapons, you're definitely going to notice an improvement in the performance of the gun, because it will actually help the cyclic rate of the weapon. The springs are tuned for each weapon, each gun. They're all different, all for the different models. That was one of the meticulous things I went after, was I wanted to enhance the performance of the weapon as well. You're also getting a 17.4 stainless steel rod in there that's actually going to help you mitigate recoil, just like a competition rod. Tungsten would never work, it's too brittle, so you're getting 17.4 stainless steel. And also, I want to let all you guys know, we do also sell these things internationally. So we're also selling to other countries. Right now, Israel's talking to us about including this in some of their defense forces. So you guys maybe have never heard of this, but you're going to be hearing a lot about it real soon. And I really think that we're kind of changing the semi-automatic slide action pistol a little bit here. And the way people train is even going to change as a result of this.
Guys, I tend to agree with that statement right there. I really do. I tend to agree with it. Don, again, thanks for coming on. And all right, I'm going to let you go, brother. You take care.
Hey, great talking to you, Karl. Thank you for having me on the show. And I'm hoping someday I can get out there and maybe train with you a little bit. I would really look forward to that.
Of course, I'd love to do a collaboration with you, and yeah, it's gonna be a good time indeed. You're gonna love Amber. You two are gonna hit it off perfect. The 3 of us, we think a lot alike, and good people help other good people. So that's awesome. You take care, Don.
You take care and be safe, brother.
Yep. Take care.
Bye now. So that was, Karl Erickson, the tactical rifleman. You guys, you either know who he is or you don't, but he's, pretty famous out there in the gun world and has done a lot of things for the industry and helped out. A phenomenal trainer if you ever have the opportunity to work with him. And, it really just kind of goes to show you that, hey, I really do believe that this B.A.D Rod is going to be changing the semi-automatic slide action pistols. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this little live demonstration we did here, collaboration on the phone with Karl. If you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, go check out his YouTube channel. You're going to love a lot of the videos he puts up there. And, for all of you, go check out my YouTube channel, Protection Plus Tactics Inc. And you're going to love some of the stuff we put up there. I just dropped another video today. And I think you guys are really going to like this stuff. So thank you once again for joining me tonight. And all of you, train hard and be safe. Bye now.